Episode 9. Parents who cannot confront their parents often target their children. Unresolved trauma from neglectful, abusive, or emotionally unavailable parents frequently finds its way into the next generation. Parents who are unable to confront their parents often displace their unresolved anger, frustration, and hurt onto their own children, perpetuating cycles of generational trauma. This unconscious transmission of emotional pain shapes the child's development, often creating the very same struggles the parent endured, resulting in a legacy of dysfunction. Supportive evidence. Generational transmission of trauma. Research on intergenerational trauma demonstrates that unresolved emotional wounds in parents can unconsciously shape their behavior toward their children. This is particularly evident when a parent harbors unacknowledged resentment or pain toward their parents, but lacks the tools or courage to confront it. A 2021 study in Clinical Psychology Review found that parental trauma, particularly when unresolved, is a strong predictor of emotional dysregulation and attachment insecurity in children. Projection of childhood hurt onto children. Psychoanalytic theories suggest that parents often project unresolved conflicts with their own parents onto their children. For example, a parent who felt neglected by their parents might overreact to minor missteps by their child, unconsciously recreating the dynamic they experienced in childhood. Example: a mother who grew up feeling unloved by her own mother may impose overly harsh expectations on her daughter, criticizing her in ways that echo her own childhood experiences. Unconscious reenactment of parenting patterns. Many parents unconsciously replicate the parenting style they experienced, even when it caused them harm. This reenactment often includes displacing unresolved anger onto their children, perpetuating cycles of emotional neglect or abuse. Case study example: a father who endured emotional neglect might lash out at his own children for seeking attention, reflecting his unresolved feelings of frustration and rejection from childhood. Emotional unavailability and shame. Parents who were unable to process their trauma may struggle to be emotionally available for their children. This absence creates a ripple effect, where children internalize feelings of inadequacy or shame, mirroring the parents' unresolved emotions. Supportive insight. A study in Attachment and Human Development, 2019, found that parents with unresolved attachment trauma were more likely to display inconsistent or emotionally avoidant parenting styles. Real-life examples. Generational cycles of criticism. A mother who experienced harsh criticism from her own mother might find herself being overly critical of her child, despite vowing never to repeat the cycle. Her unprocessed feelings of inadequacy drive her behavior, even if she is unaware of the connection. Unconscious emotional rejection. A father who grew up feeling emotionally neglected may unintentionally mirror this behavior with his children, dismissing their emotions or needs without realizing he is perpetuating the same patterns he resented in his own mother. Consequences of generational trauma transmission. Repetition of attachment. Insecurity. Children of parents with unresolved trauma often develop insecure attachment styles, continuing the cycle of relational difficulties and emotional pain into adulthood. Emotional and behavioral issues in children. Studies show that children exposed to displaced parental anger or emotional neglect are at higher risk for anxiety, depression, and behavioral problems as they internalize their parents' unresolved pain. Strained parent-child relationships. Displaced anger and emotional unavailability create resentment and confusion in children, often leading to estranged or strained relationships with their parents. Conclusion: breaking free from generational cycles, parents who displace their unresolved anger and hurt onto their children perpetuate cycles of pain that can stretch across generations. Addressing these patterns requires courage, self-awareness, and a commitment to healing. By confronting their own parents or the emotional wounds they carry, parents can free themselves and their children from the shadow of generational trauma. In doing so, they can create a more nurturing, secure, and loving environment for their children, breaking the cycle of hurt and fostering growth and connection for future generations.